let's talk about how to instantly double your reading speed. See, it's funny because 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even more than that, before I was really into reading, I, for whatever reason, read a book called Power Reading. And just like I recommend that you do, although I wasn't trying to do this, to this day there was one big takeaway that I had from the book that I have applied ever since, and it's literally instantly doubled my reading speed and the reading speed of everyone I've shared it with. And here is the trick. It sounds simple, but try it out and you'll see it'll work, and I'll explain to you why it works as well. So the trick is to, every time you read, have a pen in your hand and use that pen to read your eyes along by kind of, you're not writing, but you're just using it to lead your eyes underneath each line. And here's why it works. The reason it works is because if you don't use a pen, the way your eyes work is it takes a snapshot of 3 or 4 words at a time before moving on to the next 3 or 4 words. But when you're using a pen, you're making your eyes work in a continuous motion. So it's kind of like the difference between looking at different pictures or watching a movie. Obviously, you can watch a movie more quickly than you can go through a series of pictures. So that's the trick that you should use immediately. But here are 2 benefits of using this as well. First of all, like we talked about, you want to make your book a tool and you want to write all over it, write notes, underline things so you can come back to it. You want to take notes in it, which we'll talk about in the next 2 videos, and so forth. So that's one benefit. And another benefit is that it makes your reading an active process. See, we talked about before how the biggest mistake you can make is lying down and just making reading a very leisurely thing. Sure, there's a time for leisurely reading, but if you're trying to get through a lot of books, it's not the way to do it. You want to make it an active process. So when you're using a pen, you're kind of in the zone, kind of the let's go, let's make this happen zone. And that's what you really need to really make your reading faster. So always have a pen in hand and use it to lead your eyes along. And one question sometimes people ask me is, what about reading on a computer? Well, first of all, you can use your mouse to kind of have the same effect as a pen. It doesn't work as well, but it still works. But another thing I want to share with you is, personally, I'd always, if it's something really important and not just pleasure reading or, a distraction, I like to print it out. For example, there was a book called Scientific Advertising. I think it was written in the 1920s by Claude Hopkins, which is a really great book. And what I did is I had the book, I went to the school copy area or whatever, and I had them print it out for me and bind it so I could read it in paper. I think it's always better to read in paper in front of you, but either way, you always want to have something leading your eyes along, and that'll instantly increase your reading speed significantly.